On this week's episode of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast, we discuss the PowerSchool hackers sentencing, debrief an AI weapons detection system gone wrong, and interview a school district who just rolled out MFA to all students about their experience. Thanks for listening.
Live from the NTP studios, this is the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. This is episode 238. Did you guys like my inflection there? It was
crazy.
I know. I am Josh, K-12 Tech Director here in mid-Missouri. With me is Chris from an undisclosed location in mid-Missouri.
I think he's wearing his Ted Lasso costume for Halloween.
Oh, that does look
it does
like
kind
a
of
Ted
look like that. I agree.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Ted Lasso after Mark and I called you
Yeah,
Ted
but it's
Lasso?
on Apple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I did several episodes, however many I could fit in with a trial.
Oh, yeah. In thoughts, did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Super great. Yep.
Did you see yourself as Ted Lasso?
We actually have a principal here at one of our elementaries that I'm pretty sure it's the Ted Lasso, like, vision, like the motto, like,
Yeah.
it's up at the school. It's like a staff thing like this year.
Wonder if he paid trademark rights for that. So it is Happy Halloween. Mark has got his camera. There we go.
Oh, wow.
We knew he would come with a costume.
Mark is Batman.
I am Batman.
I'm Batman.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will. That's
That was
Batman talking to
That was
Superman.
Chris's Batman.
Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? That's Michael
Batman.
Keaton. Mark, do your Batman. I want to hear it.
You guys said it was a Halloween episode, and I had 2 seconds to find the nearest thing, so I haven't prepared anything. I just got a Batman mask.
Okay, so
That's
What do
it.
you mean? Say, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
There we go.
So the only weird thing about that is the Batman mask was within arm's reach of you because 5 seconds ago you weren't dressed. And how often are you using the Batman costume, Mark?
Oh, on occasion. Yeah. Okay. So I have a Batman mask.
And you have headphones on.
Yeah, I have a Batman mask within arm's length. What are you going to do about it?
Nothing. I mean, to each their own.
You reminded
fine.
me it was the Halloween episode, and so I had to quickly reach for the nearest thing, and
that had
was
been
Batman
recently
mask.
used.
Here's
So,
the next
okay.
question. When was the last time you wore that?
It apparently recent because it was really close.
No, I haven't worn this in a long time. I just have it permanently near me.
Permanently near you.
Yeah, don't
see
lie.
that?
We've known you
Do you
long
see me-
enough to know when you're lying.
Do you see me wiping the dust off of the mask right now? That's how.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's something Bruce Wayne would say.
That's not okay. Yeah, we should move on before. So another week, another cloud hosting outage. Office 365. I'm sorry, Mark. Am I stealing your news?
No. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Office 365, Microsoft is doing their damnedest to do everything they can to be just like Amazon, and so they had an outage this week. Half the web that went down last week didn't go down last week, went down this week. Did that impact you guys at all? We really didn't see much of an impact, I don't think.
We had 2 applications, small, a hall pass solution, and then a thing that we used for some phishing campaign stuff. So minimal impact.
Yeah. I know some of the folks I worked with had talked about Raptor was the bigger impact that some districts had saw. So, yep.
We got complaints that Raptor was down, and we just figured it was another day. And,
Now, did you, Josh, did you announce that to your staff?
No.
I didn't either.
We didn't. Where was I when that happened? I wasn't in my office. God, where was I? I don't know what I was doing.
For right
when
or
that
for
happened.
wrong, these outages, I've tried to just hold the line and not talk about it.
The AWS one was way more impactful to us. So yes, I did send out a message to that, but not the Microsoft Entra Azure outage. Chris, do you want to hit a sponsor?
I sure do. If you go to k12techpro.com, there is a Lightspeed Signal demo article on there. I did a review of their Signal products. So check out Lightspeed Systems Signal. They can help you with your device health. You can see what outages are happening, just like what we talked about. You would be notified, hey, these Chromebooks can't get to XYZ, whatever that thing is. Might give you some quicker heads up than even K-12 Tech Pro gives, because you're going to see your students and your staff devices report in that they can't get to particular things and more. So check out Signal product with Lightspeed, but check out Lightspeed for sure and that review.
So, Mark, you hinted that you had some fun news stories.
I mean, I wouldn't say fun. I would just say very intriguing stories. I guess the theme of tonight would be that didn't take too long. So let's start with AI weapons detection systems. We've talked about this in the past. There are a number of different solutions on the market. One of the genres of AI weapons detection systems actually looks at your security cameras and detects if there is any sort of threat or weapon in the image feed. Well, one school in Baltimore County called the police after their AI weapons detection system flagged a student or an individual with a gun outside of their school. This was after hours, though. The police responded in force with 8 squad cars. They detained a group of teenagers and looked around and found the supposed weapon was actually a bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
So not very fun, and obviously very traumatizing for the teenagers who are just hanging out eating bags of chips.
Yeah, he's just eating his Stranger Pizza Cool Ranch Doritos for Halloween. He's just munching on those.
Only you would go with the specific flavor of
Yes,
Doritos.
yes.
Every other news article just said it's a bag of Doritos, and Chris knew from the shade of blue what flavor it was.
Yeah, poor kid. Pizza flavor, great.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that school district had to release statements, and the family of the students detained were obviously very traumatized. I did watch the video footage of the cops as they responded. They have the body camera footage. The police responded very quickly by releasing the footage. And it's really unfortunate. You see a group of teenagers just hanging out and then being thrown into handcuffs. And then when the police actually looked at the image from the AI system, and don't get me wrong, I don't think they had the image before they responded.
Right,
I think they were
right.
responding to a report of a young person with a gun.
Yeah.
And then they got the image when they were there, and they're like, that's very clearly a Ziploc bag or a chip bag. So I don't know if there was a human that reviewed that footage before calling it in police. I don't know
That's
if the
interesting.
system automatically called the police. But either way, once they saw the image, the police were pretty sure that they were looking for a bag.
It's funny because the conference I was at last week, I bet there were 3 or 4 vendors in the exhibit hall that all were demoing some sort of weapons detection. And it's funny because, you're walking down the aisle and they're like, here, hold this AK-47 toy. And you hold it and all these alarms go off. It's like, well, that's great. As long as the person walking up to your building is holding a gun out in the open, look at me, it does nothing for concealed weapons or bags of potato chips, apparently.
Yeah.
Those aren't potato chips.
Okay. Deadly potato chips.
All right. The next article, going along the theme of that didn't take so long. The young man who was, yeah, it's a fun one. The young man who was arrested for breaking into PowerSchool and hacking into PowerSchool and stealing all the data was sentenced. Did you guys want to guess what the sentence was?
I didn't hear this at all.
Tens of millions of student and teacher records.
Was he a minor?
Them.
No, he wasn't a minor. He was like 22 or something, wasn't he?
He's 20 years old.
And going with the theme of that didn't take long, I'm going to say 7 years.
I was going to go 5.
Wow, you guys are pretty good. Now, Josh, the prosecutors were pushing for 7. Defense was looking for 3 years. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison with 3 years of probation. He did also receive a $25,000 fine and was ordered to pay $14.5 million in restitution.
Oh, come on.
A 20-year-old who is now a felon is not going to make $14.5 million.
That all made sense to me until then.
Yeah, they're basically just going to garnish his wages.
Which I guess I can get there on that dollar amount. I'm sure
on the dollar amount, sure,
PowerSchool's insurance company has paid out. But
yeah, I mean that's the value of the that's the impact of dollar amount. It's not necessarily what he's going to be able to pay.
So I'm sure there's lawyers that listen, but if he declares bankruptcy, what happens to that judgment? Does it stay in a place? Because I know if a business declares bankruptcy, the judgment kind of becomes null and void. Because even if they garnish his wages for the rest of his life, like you said, Mark, if he gets a job making minimum wage because he is a felon now, what are they going to garnish? $20 a week?
So quick question then, Josh. Would you have given him more time if Josh were judge without a whole lot of thinking right now?
No, I think the discussion is around a more meaningful financial. If you want to go the financial punishment route, a more meaningful financial, like 14 million is a big number. It gets headlines. It really, like all it does is bury that person for the rest of their life in debt. And it's really unreasonable to expect him to ever work out or repay that debt.
On top of that, that money is not going to go to any school districts or families or victims. It's going to, yeah. Interesting line in here, though, is he did return about $160,000 in cryptocurrency to the government that he had taken as a ransom. However, there is about $3 million in cryptocurrency that is unaccounted for. So one of the arguments for a longer sentence or for a harsher sentence was other criminals who are watching this are going to see, well, if the price is I serve 3 or 4 years in prison and then come out to millions of dollars in cryptocurrency that I've been hiding,
sure,
why not continue and to do this even longer? So
yeah, we want this young man to be a white hat hacker. Okay, we want redemption road for this kid.
Yeah. Now, prosecutors did reference at least 8 other cyber attacks that he had committed in the last few years, including some that he had done in high school. So chances are there are some high school teachers and administrators who are aware of this student and were probably saying, I told you so kind of thing. And we all have students like that in our districts that we've been concerned about.
It's interesting that they were able to reference items that took place likely when he was a minor. I find that interesting.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily charged for those. I think they were referencing them as in terms of this is one of a series of attacks. This is not, even though this was his first arrest, this was a series of incidents that he has committed.
Yeah.
I would like to know if he grew up in a one-to-one school district with a tech director similar to Josh that always blocked stuff. And if that was part of what made him go down this path of destruction.
I've been on a rampage to let... Yeah.
Look what you've made.
Can we read a random message from Josh that we just got sometime this week?
This message brought to you by Fortinet Podcast at Fortinet.com. Whatever it is, we're ready.
This was Tuesday at 12:01 p.m. Sometimes it's really hard not to be an asshole.
Do you recall that,
No
Josh?
other context.
I do recall that, and that's why I did that.
There's no other context to that. There is no background. There's no follow-up. Chris and I didn't even acknowledge it. We just left
you didn't,
that.
Which hurt.
We just left it.
We do that a lot to you, though.
I know. It hurt. No, and that wasn't even about blocking. I'll tell you the story later. That wasn't about blocking anything.
All right, finally up in the news. Now, again, this is kind of completing the theme of that didn't take long. Over the summertime, there were a lot of headlines about a school called Alpha School down in Texas. They were promised to be the first AI-forward charter school where students would learn from AI 2 hours a day. There's now an article out from Wired around former parents, former teachers and staff are saying, hey, this is not at all that it cracked out to be. And so there's a little bit of I would say a hit piece on Alpha School. If you read it, there is a lot of, I would say, concerns that every district might find in terms of parents worried about the rigor and the level of stress and concern from their child. But there's also a lot of saying, hey, this isn't all it cracked up to be. And some concerns around IXL even backed out and canceled their contract with Alpha School, citing a violation of their terms of service. And then this issue around is Alpha School actually going for more wealthy, well-to-do families? They particularly chose a neighborhood near the SpaceX campus in Texas, thinking that you're going to find more wealthy, tech-forward families, and this may not be the model for everybody. So Whether or not Alpha School is going to be successful or not, and if this AI forward approach is going to take hold, I'm not sure, but we're already starting to see cracks that we kind of all saw coming. So we'll see.
And that just gets back to that whole discussion of online educating applications are not the replacement of human teachers. I mean, the articles and such pick on IXL, but they're just one of a number of that if they are relied on too heavily, that's not a good thing.
Well, IXL even said, we are in this article about this, we are not a replacement for teachers. You should not be using IXL in substitution of teachers. And I think that may have been, they kind of alluded to that being the challenge that they had with Alpha School.
All right. What else you got? Anything?
That's it for the news this week.
Hey, I'll talk about ChromebookParts.com. So they have a YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the podcast description to that. Over 300 repair tutorials concerning Chromebooks, procedures on how to fix motherboards, that kind of stuff, to do the serial number jazz on those. They cover all kinds of brands and models. And it's just on YouTube, so you can go out and get that. It can help your tech department, help your student-led tech department. They have a lot of funny, goofy Chromebook-themed entertainment videos on there as well. They have one that is with Jurassic Park, but they call it Jurassic Parts, and it's kind of a Halloween-themed as well. So check out ChromebookParts.com. Check out their YouTube channel. They can help you with getting the parts that you need, but they're also offering some free services out there just to help you with your repairs.
So I guess the rest of this article is going to be the interview that we did with, was it Tahoe-Truckee School District in California on the western coast of Lake Tahoe. As they were describing it, it sounded amazing. Like they have an outdoor school, they get a bunch of snow. And again, being on the western shore of Lake Tahoe would be amazing. The thing that struck me is he said his district is so large that if to go from the furthest buildings would be an hour and a half drive time with no traffic, no construction, no delays, whatever. That's a haul for one district between buildings. Good talk, guys.
I'm sorry. Did you interview him about how long it takes to drive across their town?
Shut up, Mark.
Yes.
We did. We talked about that, Mark. But
any other takeaways? Do you want to should we just move on from here?
Mark, you are being very hurtful tonight.
Chris is dying in the corner laughing, and you're going after me here?
Yes, because your words hurt.
What else, Josh?
No, we found them over on K-12 Tech Pro because I had asked a question about MFA, I think, about student MFA, and they commented saying they were getting ready to, this was back in early September, they were getting ready to roll out student MFA for their entire student body. And during the interview, they said they went live, I guess it was the last week of September, for all students. And their onboarding, and all of it went really smooth. Little secret, they're using Clever for student MFA and IDM. And Mark, I believe around the same time, you were giving a presentation about passwords and are passwords a thing anymore? So it kind of goes hand in hand with that. You want to give your take real quick on what you talked about with your presentation?
Yeah, I actually had done a presentation or a webinar for K-12-6, ironically also with the CISO for Clever, and we were talking about the future of authentication and challenges that school districts go with managing passwords and security. So it was just coincidental that you guys were interviewing this district about their rollout of MFA. That is obviously one of the recommendations that we give for school districts to consider student MFA. So I'm really eager to hear this interview. I have not heard it yet, so I'll be curious to see what their experience was like.
Yeah, I'll say they ease my mind on what student MFA is and what the impact is on tech department. I feel like we quickly covered all of the things and all the questions that we typically talk about when we talk about student MFA. And I got to the end and I felt good. And they weren't blowing smoke. They were just giving this real life. This is the case study. This is what we did. I told Josh I still want him to go first between the two of us, but it makes sense. The solution that they went with and the way they did it and the procedures that got invented along the way and how they were going to handle the rollout and how they're going to handle the issues as they come up down the road. So
I was more excited about the drive time stats.
Obviously.
Here's the interview with Ed and Michael from the Tahoe-Truckee School District in California.
All right, Josh, I pulled in these two guys. They agreed to come on. They don't fully know what they're going to talk about besides we said something about student MFA. We heard that they did it. So we welcome Ed and Michael. How's it going, guys?
It's going good. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate being here.
We just jumped on this call. We didn't even know like where you're from. So I think we know that you're from California now, but I guess Ed, we'll start with you with you. Would you talk about yourself, talk about your school district, and then Michael, please take the floor.
Sure, definitely happy to. My name is Ed Hilton. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Tahoe-Truckee Unified School District. We are one of the largest school districts in California, 720 square miles, and we have only 4,200 students.
Wow.
So, in 11 buildings. So a few of our buildings are quite small. We have 2 comprehensive high schools, an alternative high school, 2 middles, 5 elementaries, and 1 charter school. And we are very close to the border with Nevada, up in the Sierra Nevada mountains, east of Sacramento, west of Reno. And we've already had our first snow. Everybody thinks that California, we're just kicking it on the beach. But in 2003, we had 19 snow days, if you can imagine that. And I was also moonlighting as a principal of a small elementary school while I was doing chief tech officer work. And my school was on Donner Summit, one of the places that can get the most snow in the nation. If you've heard of the Donner Party, I'll you to look that up if you're familiar. But
Not at school.
The filters might catch that one. Anyway, it's definitely we get a lot of snow.
So if you had to go from your 2 furthest districts and travel between those 2 districts, how long would it take you?
Yeah, the longest school travel time would be probably about an hour and 20 minutes. That's without snow, without construction, which is the other season. We have winter and construction. As other, I know other districts in the Midwest, upper Midwest do have the same thing. We have, it's very similar. So some of our kids spend about over an hour on the bus to get to school every day.
Wow.
About 80% ridership too, ride the bus. So
holy cow.
Yeah. We provide it for all our students. We're still down bus drivers. That's one thing that we would love.
Yeah, I think everybody is. Yeah. All right, but what's your role at Tahoe, Michael?
I am the teacher technology specialist here at the Tahoe-Truckee Unified School District. So I work directly with teachers implementing technology within the classroom, kind of like an ed tech coach here at the district. I am the only one, so I work with all 10, 11 schools that we have.
So you have more drive time than instructional tech time?
Yes. A lot of time in the car to think about, what we're going to be working on and planning and stuff. So it's kind of tough with my calendar. I have to block out like half hours in between because someone books me for like a 20-minute and 30-minute in person. I'm like, I got to get across town in order to do this or over the Spooner Summit. So it's a lot of fun, but awesome. So I work directly with teachers and also helping with our one-to-one implementation of computers, helping students work with their computers and integrate it into the classroom.
Very cool.
So I guess let's talk about that. So you mentioned one-to-one. So is that with Chromebooks? Is that with Windows devices? What is that with?
Yeah, we started our one-to-one program over 10 years ago. It's been, 2012 was our first one-to-one program. And just to give you a little background, our free and reduced lunch percentage is about 35 to 40%.
Okay.
And it's about the same for English language learners. And so at the time, I was assigned to our alternative school students who had dropped out and were getting back in, getting credits to graduate. I was a math teacher at the alternative school. And our new superintendent came and had seen what we had done there in 2012. That was the alternative school was the first school to go one-to-one. We got a grant from our local education foundation to get netbooks. was kind of like right around, I think Chromebooks might have come out, but it was a little bit pre-Chromebook time. So we got netbooks, and that new superintendent was saying, like, I want to do that across the district. Can you help me do that? So that kind of started my foray into administration from teaching. And from then we just started growing from the alternative school to middle school, and then kind of out from middle school, 8th grade and up, and then 7th grade and down. And we finished one-to-one implementation, get this, the fall of 2019. So, and that went down to TK and Kinders as well. And we used Chromebooks at that point.
Okay.
District wide. So now we have deployed, every student has a Chromebook across the district. And that was 2020. We were ready to go for the big pivot that everybody's trying to kind of go past. So every student has a Chromebook, and that's our one-to-one program. So
every student with a Chromebook, that means every student is with a Google account.
Every student is with a Google account. Yes,
so we know that we're building up to the fact that you guys went student MFA. So I guess, would you unpack what happened, or what decisions led to, what were the conversations like that led you to that decision? Hey, student MFA is what we're going to go to.
Yeah, it's a great question. We kind of backed into it, actually, because we are one thing that we have in our district is, and a philosophy we have, is device agnosticism for staff and teachers. And we give them the opportunity, Macs, Chromebooks, Windows computers, and we have a pretty mixed environment besides the students. So we were managing Active Directory, managing Google, managing Apple logins with Federation through Microsoft. And so there's a lot of things going on. And one of the things we were struggling with is we were doing all of that manually right around when we were in the midst of COVID and just changing accounts. And we're like, there's got to be a better way. So we were actually looking for like some kind of software or a script or something that would help us like configure accounts for us more automated. So we weren't having to do all that manual moving and CSV uploads and working in the Google admin panel and doing the same with Active Directory. And we found Clever IDM, which helped us. That's the reason we got it, Clever IDM, minus the MFA, just to configure accounts for students automatically.
Yeah.
So that's what we purchased it for initially. Around the same time, as cybersecurity was ramping up during those times where students were at home and we were doing AB days and all that, our insurance company was starting to give free kind of cybersecurity audits for discounts on cyber insurance. So we started working with our schools insurance group, who it's a collective of school districts and county offices in Northern California. And they provided this consultant called Kind, KYND, to do an evaluation of your cybersecurity posture and give recommendations on what should be done. And so we just started from that first evaluation, started chipping away at the recommendations. One of the first ones was staff MFA, or at least MFA for folks with privileged accounts, and then all staff, and we kind of chipped away at that. And then in one of our conversations, we asked, is this something we should do for students? And they're like, well, we're not requiring it yet, but it could be on the horizon. So since we had Clever IDM already, in one of our calls, they were rolling out Clever MFA, and we thought, wow, that might be a good thing to check out. Some of our cybersecurity breaches, while we didn't have one specifically within our district, we continued to get phishing from other school district student accounts.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew this was an issue, and we had one or two student accounts compromised just with, students logging into each other's accounts. So we're like, you know what, this might be a good thing to check out. So just
Josh,
over the
did you think that's where that was going to go? I thought he was going to talk about an incident or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's similar to what I'm experiencing with, that student account takeover that we had and sending out spam. But I think this is probably a likely progression for a number of districts. Like their student accounts are becoming more of the target. And after we had our thing, it was a stance of, we've gone out of our way to do this for faculty and staff accounts. We really, yes, it's hard, but we really need to focus on the student account now too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think overall, and I think I'll let Michael kind of pick up on this thread, is that we are kind of like, we need to model for our students. And this is something that's part of just good cybersecurity hygiene for students as they get older. And so we're pretty impressed with how it went. We wish we could have done it a little bit faster, but we're happy with the results as of the end of September, when we flipped the switch and everybody was on board.
So let's talk about that implementation. And this might be more Michael's realm. So did you go big bang? Did you do grade level at a time? What was that rollout like?
It was kind of slow, actually. We started noticing, if we're going to go multi-factor, we couldn't really go with Google because we kind of switched over that cell phones were not allowed at our schools anymore. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really have anything to work with. So one of the things, too, we were worried about was student logins. And Clever actually has a nice package where they can bypass a Google login, and the students will log in with a QR code. So our littles don't have to remember any fancy passwords. They can just use a QR code to log in directly to their Chromeboxes or Chromebooks. So that's what we went with first. We got all the students logging in with QR codes or with a Google password for our older kids. And then to switch to the MFA, we needed to protect our Google end. And so that we had to turn off the Google login aspect. Yeah. And so that was our next step, was to turn that off. So even the older kids who are still using Google logins are now logging into their Google accounts using Clever.
Yeah.
So that was the first step. Get everybody logging in through Clever accounts, no longer using Google. We turned off the Google login. And then from there, it was a pretty easy transition. We chose to go with Clever's, we call it the monkey banana login.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say purple elephant.
Animal fruit.
Yeah.
And so, because we can't really couldn't use the phones anywhere because you couldn't use any QR codes or any authentication app. So from that, we started going school by school.
Okay.
And setting that up to have the schools log in. We were there. I was actually on site at each school as we turned it on, sitting out in the open quad. If any kids had any problems, they could come out and talk to me, and we can make sure that their accounts were set up correctly and get them set up that way. And we gave them the 2-week login process where they could, once they set it up, they had 2 weeks before it was required that they actually had a multi-factor login.
Okay.
So
what would you say that was like in the hallways?
At first, the biggest problem was some of the kids had not switched over to Google. They, had said they log into Clever, but they didn't. So it was getting them to log in correctly. But I'd say most of the problem was at the high schools. We'd have maybe 25 to 50 kids that they had to come out and had problems. The other problem too is we had students with their personal devices, and we hadn't deployed a component. There's a component within Clever that deploys a Google Workspace connection, and we hadn't deployed that yet. So once they got into Clever and logged in, they didn't have access to all their Google accounts. So we had to redeploy that and get them set up. So there was kind of some bumps in the road to get it set up, but once we had it, the animal food item is pretty easy for most of the kids. And then we went down to the elementary schools. I worked directly with kindergartners to set up their accounts. It was so much fun because, they'd be sitting there and it's like, hey, now I get a picture. Oh, I want to be a hippopotamus. Oh, I want to pick a kiwi. I'm like, kiwi or kindergarten? You know the kiwi? That's great. And one kid, I'm like, oh, how about you choose the watermelon? He says, that's not a watermelon. That's a cantaloupe. I'm like, oh, okay. You choose the cantaloupe then.
Whatever you call it. As long as you can remember it, I don't care.
Right. And they did a great job remembering it. I was impressed with my kindergartners. I had a high school principals say, I need access to all my students, two-factor authentications because they can't remember. And I said, I've got kindergartners who are remembering theirs and telling their friends, oh, remember, you chose monkey and,
Funny.
onion and stuff like that. So it was really cool seeing our younger kids. They'd hold up their badge, log right in, choose their animal stuff, and get straight to work on whatever they're doing. It was super impressive to see the flow. And this helped our younger teachers for our kindergarten, first grade, second grade teachers, because, before they'd have to help them log in all the time, teach them how to type it. And it just made the flow so easy.
Now, you're not badging at the upper grades. They're using username and password, right?
Yeah, they can still use a badge if they want, but now they use username and password.
Okay.
Which they set up. So
after you onboarded everyone with MFA, has there been an impact in the classroom as far as downtime for instruction? Like, has there been an increase in incidents of kids forgetting their MFA? Or are you requiring MFA when they're on-prem at school? What does that look like?
MFA requirement is on-prem and off-premises.
Okay.
So they're always required to do it. Every 7 days they're challenged.
Okay.
And
or a new device.
Or a new device, exactly. Or a new location. So if they try to log in Texas and not at their home site or their school site, they'll be challenged also.
So what was some of the conversation with that? Because we hear of schools that maybe just require student MFA outside of school. Why did you guys land on prem as well?
A lot of the times we were having some problems with student badges being found or used to log into different accounts. So we wanted to protect them also within other students. And mostly it was kind of older students would go into their accounts and get into chats and stuff for some of their younger kids and things like that. So it helps to protect them that way. If they were to find the badge and they could scan it in, or brother or sister, things like that, it would protect them. So
yeah. Are you sending devices home at your elementary or pre-K levels?
Most of the devices stay on site at the elementary school up to about 4th or 5th grade. Is kind of teacher discretion. So about 4th and 5th grade, they start taking them home.
So walk through the process when you have a snow day, and do your teachers at the elementary level just not assign anything that's being done? Let me back up. Do you guys have virtual days on snow days, or are they true snow days still?
Right now, they're true snow days.
Okay.
Until we get up to a point. Like that one when we had 19 snow days, we were trying to find virtual ways to do it. But we have 5 snow days baked into our schedule here at the school district. So,
and unfortunately, California does not allow ADA by virtual. That's kind of what happened outside of the COVID. All the flexibility that schools had to do virtual days went away back in 2023. It sunsetted.
Okay.
So we have it in case of emergency or evacuation, those kind of things, but it would have to be we would have to ask for a waiver from the state for that ADA, the daily attendance, if we did a virtual day. So so they're regular snow days, and when we go over, technically we're supposed to make them up.
The only reason I brought it up is there's some conversation here about when we have a snow day, what does that look like for our elementary kids, that if they are badging in and out and they don't know what their password is, how are they accessing email or Google from home if that badge isn't with them? So it's just right now we're still doing paper packets for and in a similar vein, we have 4 snow days built in that are real snow days that we start with. And once we get over 4 snow days, then we start doing virtual learning days. So really, I can count on one hand the number of times in the last 5 years that we've had to go to that virtual learning day. So it is a possibility, but it's not a huge possibility for us.
Yeah. So our elementary school teachers, because they do a lot of stuff at home where they need to have access to different programs through Clever.
Gotcha.
And they don't have their computers. They sent home a virtual badge to all their parents. So the parents just have it on their phone, and they just hold it. They pull up the badge and they hold it up to their camera on their device at home, and it logs them right into Clever or Google from home, and then they can access all their curriculum and all their activities right from there.
Okay, so I guess they're going to clever.com and clicking login.
Yeah, actually, if they go to Google and they type in, so if they do a normal Google type in and they type in the @T2SD email, it'll automatically route them to Clever, and then they access it.
You've changed your IDP,
right?
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
So what happens if kid forgets purple elephant, coconut, whatever?
It's animal fruit, Chris. Not
animal fruit. Animal fruit. Is there a purple elephant? I always say purple elephant.
Yeah.
But what happens?
As admins, we have the ability to restart cancel their 2-factor and reinitiate it so they choose another one. But actually, teachers have the ability to go see their students, and they can see their 2-factor authentication for those students.
Oh, cool.
So they can just call them and set it up. And then there's the ability to share a setup code with parents. So parents can also, if they forget it at home, they can use this authentication code that the parents receive, and they use that code in order to log in.
No, cool. Man, I feel like this is an ad for Clever, but I think, when you're thinking about this in the grand scheme of things,
who's not a sponsor, by the way.
No, they're not.
And that kind of ticks us off, to be honest.
They should be now.
Let's talk about it, Clever. Let's talk about it.
Okay, there we go. How's that?
There you go. Oh, I got more.
Michael's holding up a Clever T-shirt.
But these are all, to me, very real conversations, and I'm sure the other products out there do that, like ClassLink and stuff. But they're all very real topics and things that districts that are considering student MFA need to have a plan for. Like that whole thought of changing your IDP and the login process so that authentication does take place with Clever instead of Google. And then the sending the badge home, or that's those are all real things.
And I have to say, go ahead.
I was going to give you some props, Michael, that, Michael spent a lot of time. We said it took longer. Sometimes we wish things would go faster. But Michael spent a lot of time working with our site. We call them Lights, Leaders Integrating Technology. It's basically a full-time classroom teacher who is going to the tech committee meeting and, being a point person for things that are happening at the school site. And they get a little stipend for that every year. And Michael was really good about creating videos for them, going to the school sites, meeting with their staff. I did a few staff meetings myself. We kind of tag team and just made sure everybody was really feeling comfortable. And even as much as you do, all that change management comes into it, even as easy as Clever makes it, the change management piece is the big part, and helping everybody feel comfortable about what's going to happen. And even with the perfect rollout, there's still always those things. And, we just started with our biggest high school, which is almost 900 students. And maybe that wasn't the best to start with. Maybe start with a smaller school. But other than, just the fact that when you're on a Chromebook, and I think this is really important too, when you do a Google login, it creates a certain profile.
Yep.
And then when you do a Clever login, that's another profile. So they start to get, if there's two profiles on the Chromebook, it starts to get kind of wonky. So we would have to kind of power wash the Chromebook or start fresh. And then they would log in with their credentials and everything would be okay. But it's really that change management and what could come up. And so letting our school librarians know that, if you see this, if it starts getting into this kind of infinite loop, it's probably a profile issue. So just, wipe the Chromebook and start fresh.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that profile problem was probably because we rolled out super slowly. I think if we really wanted to just pick a day and flip the switch and have it all go at once, but it kind of got pushback from our sites, and they were nervous about it.
Sure.
And I kind of go back to your question, Josh, about influence in classroom. I think it's actually simplified everything for teachers. They don't have a lot of. We haven't had any login problems. Students can reset their passwords now directly in Clever, so we don't have student reset password problems anymore. It's really been pretty quiet until about a week ago when there was a problem with Clever.
Yeah.
Actually, with Google login services and Clever was not talking correctly, and we had some problems with that. But But that's pretty much the only issue that we've had. It has not been with the multi-factor authentication or the Google logins.
Interesting.
And we confirmed that on K-12 Tech Pro. So thank you for the that something was up with Clever.
Would you speak to, did you have teachers that pushed back on this, that did act like it was a big impact on the classroom, or what kind of experience did you have with teachers?
I would say that the biggest impact was for our high school teachers, because before this, the students were allowed, their Chromebooks did not log them out every time they closed their screen. Mm-hmm. So for elementary school teachers, they're ecstatic about it. They love it because kids can log into any computer, and it's just such a nice system for them. They don't have to worry about passwords and things like that. But yeah, that was the biggest trouble with the high school students, was them having to log in every single time.
Okay.
And choose the multi-factor. But they were again, students were saying, you have to choose a better password. Like, well, can't I just use my name and my email? I said, no, you can't use that. That's why we're doing this.
Yes.
That's not secure, so.
Kind of a random question that we've kind of answered, but so if a student has the issue with, they forgot elephant coconut, what's the flow? They tell teacher, or do they go somewhere? What's the flow? What's the support?
Yeah, they'll talk directly with the teacher, and the teacher can look up their animals and remind them what it is, because they can actually see them. There's also an option that they could ask the teacher for a code, and that teacher then will send out a single login code that they can use to get into their account, and then they could change it themselves, their multi-factor, once they're in their account. Last case would be having call our helpline, and then we can go in as admin and turn off, reset their two-factor, so that next time they log in, they have to choose their animals again.
And the way that you're explaining that, it really doesn't escalate to that often.
No.
Right? That tech burden. Okay.
No. Now that we've trained the teachers that they have access to it, that was the next step. Is we got a lot of calls right at first because they didn't have that complete training of that they could access those things. But now we haven't had a problem with password reset or MFA problems in over a month.
Well, that's awesome. Maybe final question. I'll let Chris be the decider of that. But
I'm feeling really good. Like, Josh, I think you should turn this on, and then maybe I'll go next.
We're doing it. Like, I have a meeting tomorrow. We're gonna buy it. So has the whole goal of this is to prevent account takeovers, unauthorized account takeovers. Has this prevented that from happening?
We haven't seen one yet.
Okay. I was just curious,
at P2SD. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there, logging or whatever that would show you an overseas login attempt or something like that it would have prevented?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything outside. Normally by this time of year, Ed and I probably would have received something from a principal about a student hacking someone else's account and opening up a chat or editing documents.
Okay.
We have not seen anything like that this year.
We also have some of those alerts from Google as well, if they're logging in from different locations.
Yeah, suspicious login alerts.
Yeah, suspicious logins, and we haven't got those from any students for weeks now. Yeah.
On the funny side is that we've been getting calls from parents saying, "Hey, I used to be able to get into my student's account and do all the things. Now I can't. How do I do that?"
That's funny.
I'm like, it's a lot easier now.
Yeah. I said, well, you better talk to your son or daughter and ask them if you can borrow their QR code and their two-factor authentication code.
That's funny.
Because, Google Classroom does not allow parents to get in.
Right.
They just give them that Guardian summary and stuff.
Right.
And, parents had this. I just had their email and I would just log in all the time and look at what they're doing. And they can't do that anymore. So
yeah. Interesting. Chris, any other questions?
I don't think so. I honestly feel really good about
I know one of the things just one of the things that I was concerned about is, especially for our middle and high school students, we have a lot of SSO items,
I was worried about this exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it is into something like a curriculum or logging in to take some kind of standardized test, whatever it is. We were worried about that, and just, they're used to on a phone or on a personal computer or something, getting that Google pop-up window where you can authenticate with your TTUSD account, if we allow that. And, we tested it, and we had a group of actually middle school students. Michael worked with one of our middle schools to test out some of these things ahead of time, and that was smooth as well. So the same experience that Michael talked about, that if they do get that pop up, as soon as they type in their TTUSD email, it just sends them to Clever, authenticates, does the MFA, and then they're into whatever the SSO system is that they were trying to authenticate with.
Yeah, we did a test run with, I think, 40-ish kids in our high school.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the groundwork I laid with them was, I want you to break something. Like, I want you to tell me something doesn't work, because I need to know now rather than after we roll this thing out.
Right.
And we had a solid month trial with Clever, and everything, all of our SSO applications, all the SAML applications, they all worked. I was shocked. Even we have a business lab that is Google authentication for Windows or whatever, it's GCPW or whatever. That even worked. I was like, there's no way in the world this is going to work. It worked. I was floored.
We actually asked the Clever group and said, hey, can we do this for our teachers too?
Yeah.
Because we have Microsoft, we have Apple connected with Microsoft, we have Google and all the different passwords and everything. It's like, wow, if we could just combine it into one experience, that might be, the way we go, because that's where we're talking about Microsoft accounts or Windows devices. Right now they're logging with Microsoft. Do we switch them over to log in with Google for teachers? And so, but I haven't
We're still looking into that.
Yeah.
Well, it's great, guys. Mike or Ed, I do have this question. So we had some delay in this interview because you said that you were also the outdoor education, environmental literacy strategic plan person, something, an outdoor school. Just what
you want to know about that?
Do you go fishing? Like what?
Yeah.
That's a whole separate conversation there, Chris, with Ed.
Yeah, how long do you have? Well, Michael and I have both, we've worked at the district now over 20 years each. So we've been here a long time, middle school teachers. I've been a high school teacher, principal. So and in a small district, as you know, you end up wearing a lot of hats, depending on what the need is. I've pretty much done everything except driving a school bus. But just a few years ago, I sit on cabinet as when I was the director of technology and then the CTO. And, we had a new strategic plan, and there were a lot of action points, and we were going around the room, and, we've been doing the one-to-one and tech integration for a long time. So I didn't have any like specific things for myself. And so we got to like the last one, and it was like increase outdoor education and getting our kids outside and working with our partners. And we're by Lake Tahoe. There's a lot of folks that like to be outside and skiing and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, there's that voice in you is like, I shouldn't say yes to this, but really like, this is kind of cool too. And so, I raised my hand and I said, I worked at a camp before I became a teacher. Maybe I can do this too. That's when I became outdoor ed and led our partners. And we have a school site on the west shore of Lake Tahoe that has been sitting empty for about 20 years. It was an expensive storage facility, and we're turning it into like an outdoor lab. And we got bunk beds and working with our state Department of Ed to turn it into like a 6th grade camp type of experience on the west shore of Lake Tahoe. So
super cool.
That's what I did a few weeks ago. I spent a week overnights out with 200 6th graders.
Oh my God.
Needless to say, I was actually happy to get back and take care of a few troubled kids.
I would imagine. Yeah.
But it was a fun week, and the kids
awesome.
had a great time. And it is a little bit ironic, being the tech guy and, getting outside and getting off our devices. But it's actually worked out really well. And a lot of people are looking at wellness and things like that. So it's been fun to wear both of those hats for a little while. I'm starting to transition it back to the curriculum department, but
And what better place to do that than Lake Tahoe? Jeez.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And Ed had to cancel the second tour because it snowed up
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah. It was our
first
no.
week of October.
Yeah, we were planning on another 100 kids, but we're like, you know what? When we own our own camp, we can decide when kids go.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
we rescheduled it until the spring. So
That's
Fortunately, he had 3 days to catch up on all his emails and other tasks because he had nothing planned.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Well, Ed and Michael, thanks for coming on and thanks for sharing with us about student MFA, about outdoor education. Michael, to you, there's a special person can work with technology people and teacher. So we appreciate your role in your district. Tech department guys, sometimes we don't give the appreciation that is that role.
Well,
so.
I am a sixth grade math and science teacher. So
Okay. Well,
that's where that's how I
teachers here all the
started.
time, but
That's how I started. But yeah.
love it. Well, thanks, guys.
thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Josh.
Yep.
We might not be the same. You share the same pain that I do.
The views and opinions expressed on the K-12 Tech Talk podcast are the personal opinions of Josh, Chris, and Mark, and do not represent the views or opinions of our sponsors or other organizations that we're affiliated with. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
We were buying words about the phrase of the